Hey, everybody. Okay, we're on the right page now. We're going to get started. I'm going to invite some people into the room today. Lottie Dottie and everybody. Um, oh, I'm inviting. I'm sorry. I got in the zone of inviting really quickly. Um, so that's what I'm doing right now. Oh, goodness. So welcome. If you're joining in, you can see me. I can't see you right now, and I'm just, pulling us into the room um, the way that our beloved Facebook has set it up for us to do. Okay. All right. Okay. I probably look so intense because this one, I want anyone who can get in the room to come into the room today. Hey, I can see all of you. Yes. Okay. All right. I had to get the room ready. I had to make sure that I had, um, I had some juju around me on this one. I'm not even sure if I'm going to make this public after it's recorded because this is a rare conversation. I do not often speak on Iyanla. I mean, and definitely not her work because as far as I'm concerned, her work is a demonstration through me. She is my spiritual covering. She is my mother. But at the same time, I'm trained. I'm a trained woman. And so I want to... So I'm going to slow down intentionally. You might see me jotting down some notes because I want to be very deliberate in my intention, in my delivery, in my invitation of this conversation. Okay? And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go in and out of a little bit of personal sharing as well as I do want, my intention today is to facilitate the use of a different I. Possibly even a breakthrough for those who have been triggered or are triggered. The space will be open for those of you who would like to join me. Maybe about 10 minutes into me sharing, I would like to invite people into the conversation if you feel so led to deposit something or if you have a contrasting view. All I ask and request, if you have a contrasting view, is that it is done with respect and honor, because it would be the same way as if someone was talking about your mother. And so that's the space that I want to open up. We don't have to see things the same way, but I will assure you that I'm going to lay a context and then open it beyond what we see. Okay, that really is my biggest agenda, beyond what we see, So let me go on and do my disclaimer. Although I'm very much affiliated with Iyanla Vanzant, she is an employee of OWN. Okay, and I do not work for OWN, and I'm not a representative of OWN Networks Broadcasting nor any of the team in that way. Okay, so I have no personal interest in defending because there's no defense needed when you are on assignment. And beyond what you all may see, I know that she is on assignment. So yesterday, I just ironically, right, I happened to be engaging in a conversation right here on Facebook from someone that I knew, who hopefully she'll join in, who had made a disparaging comment about the recent show with the young lady who was kidnapped, excuse me. And, it's the season opener for Fix My Life. And it is, it's in keeping with the OWN networks. Hi everyone who's saying hello as you come in, who's saying hello as you come into the community. Yay. So thank you for saying hello. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking some time out of your schedule to join. Okay. So I engaged in a conversation, and normally I don't do that. I don't typically comment on anything that I see. And imagine the discipline that it takes for those of us who are in proximity to, who are connected to, who know, we know the work, and we know the woman. And so imagine the level of discipline that it takes, right? And I can only sympathize and empathize with pastors, kids, PKs, children of celebrities, other family members who are connected to those who are well known. It's not my first time being in proximity to the people who hold the attention of the public, okay? And so part of that is in my DNA. It's in my training long before even Iyanla, okay? So I'm going to set that context, because social media has given everyone, hello love, has given everyone a voice. Everyone has become their own beat investigators, journalists, if you will, amateur journalists, and certainly social commentaries and opinions. Yeah. And so I want to lay the context of what motivated this, but I assure you we are not going to stay on the details of the show or Kamaria, is that her name, or formerly Alexis, or Neffy, or DMX, or any of those people who created a shitstorm of commentary about Fix My Life and Iyanla. So of course, I've seen those things such as Iyanla was disrespectful. She was out of line. She taunted the young lady, and she got what she deserved, and she should have got bitch slapped. And if she she was about to get bitch slapped, and I bet she learned a lesson, and all of these things. But there were also some. Iyanla actually said herself that most of the comments that she's received has been outrage with the young lady. And just to show you, when you're trained, when you don't get, I'm not throwing any shade, I'm just stating facts, right? And this probably does not apply to anyone in here, but there probably are people who do watch and don't, even in this group. If you have not had the kind of training that we've had in terms of, and if you've only gotten your certification as a coach online, if you've only gone through a 6-week program, or if you just are self-appointed, if you're just a self-appointed coach, inspired, motivated, or maybe you've gone through something online, it is different than the type of training done for those of us who have experience. Hello, my love, Inner Visions in particularly, or her work, or any of it. Okay, so and not just Iyanla's work. There's levels of transformation, like LifeSpring. I don't even know if it still exists. LifeSpring, Ascend, all of these. If you've never, oh God. The Forum, transformational work that reaches down inside and shows you a picture of yourself. And sometimes it can feel like confrontation if you are numb or if you are not unaware. Okay, so you got to realize many of us in this space are doing the work. We've had some type of experience. Some of us have chosen some type of coaching or another level of spiritual experience. And those of you who've worked with me, who've worked with Iyanla, who've worked with Master Coach Ron Davis, peace and blessings upon him. We could go on and on and on of the number of people where we've had some type of a process. Even Anthony Robbins. If you get a chance and you have a Netflix account or something, check out Anthony Robbins. He's straight, no chase. I mean, in your face transformation, right? And that's very deliberate. When you are holding a neutral space. But majority of the population has not had that type of training, has not been exposed to that type of training. So now you add on social media and you have all of these opinions, all of this commentary. And I'll give you another example. We could even throw in the mix Monique. Let's throw her into this conversation as well. She has triggered many people because many people did not stand with Monique. Many people, and even I was really reluctant to jump onto to this bandwagon with Monique. I was very reluctant because just crying wolf, or just crying about racism. There's another reality of thinking beyond even race consciousness, racism, wanting them to do anything for us. But then when I heard more of her process and from her mouth, then I said, oh, I see what's happening here. So fast forward. Now I rarely actually see the show Fix My Life. To be honest with you, living in Costa, when the show first started, yes, we were excited. We got a chance. We see, we get the opportunity to see some of the shows before they broadcast. If you are around or if you're in town, and yes, she has premieres and parties and all that thing. But when the show first began, I was living in Costa Rica. Therefore, I didn't do a whole lot of watching of any kind of TV for 2 years, which created a habit for me where I don't have cable intentionally, and I don't build my life around watching any kind of TV. And why do I need to watch the person who I already have an intimate relationship? I know the work, the modalities. I know what she's doing, and I know, but with the preparation, I know all of that before I don't need to see that. I don't need to. And every now and then, I do it in support of. So this time I just happened to see this show. It actually popped up on YouTube. I said, oh, let me see what all of the fuss is about. Let me see what Mama's doing. And of course, I was just like, wow. When I'm waiting for the buildup, and I could see the numbness, and even that, I'm careful about my assessments, right? So I saw yesterday some commentary. I always read the comments, whatever I'm doing, I tend to read the comments, because a lot of times you can find out context and stuff, you never know. And this time I just happened to be scrolling and saw someone that I know who said something, and you all may have seen the dialogue about Iyanla, and specifically about her. And it was said as though they knew that what they were saying was fact. And it was not fact. And I wasn't debating. See, you don't have to debate what you know. A debate is a theory. People exchanging opinions, theories, and assessments. But when you don't have to debate. That's even on your spiritual walk. At a certain point, when you know what you know, you don't debate. You don't debate. Hi, love, I miss you. You don't debate with your family. You don't debate with people about who you are. And so, it wasn't a debate. There were incorrect things that were said that fed the assumption. Now, I don't care about anyone's opinions. Sure, there are people who don't like her. In my own family, sometimes there are people who said, nah, I ain't with that. Millennials who don't feel it. They are not feeling that. and, you know, we could have a whole conversation about millennials and feedback and conflict, because they're not driven by face-to-face interaction as it is. So I'm going somewhere. I'm giving you some context before we even go beyond what we see. My question that I'll deposit throughout is, why do you think Iyanla Fix My Life triggers so much dialogue? Why do you think this show triggered so much in people? I mean, there were people in helping professionals who said she's not a therapist and she's a life coach and she's a this and that. How many of you have ever had an attorney? Okay, how many? First of all, she is a trained attorney. I really shouldn't have to go through her credentials, but I think that people just hear coaching sometimes and they think that's all that you have, right? And not only that, how do I say this? She is an alchemical woman. She does not go into anything without checking in with the alchemy before she does it. There's also a team of people who prepare for weeks before a show. There was even a debrief show. I'll try to find the link and put it in here. I know I say I'm going to put links in sometimes, but I've been busy. I've been really have been busy. Thank you, God. Goddess, all that is. And I had sometimes forget. So somebody remind me to put the link in here. But afterwards, she had a debrief show with her staff, because they were intentional even in selecting the type of team that would support this type of show. See, you got to understand, sometimes Iyanla didn't go looking for Oprah. Remember that. Iyanla, people always are saying, oh, she's doing it for the money. She's doing it for entertainment. Iyanla did not go looking for Oprah. She actually was doing her work, which will preach for 365 days after what she had been through with the loss of her daughter, with the loss of personal property, with things that shifted all around her. When all of these things, from being a best-selling author 5 times on the New York Times, being all over Oprah Winfrey, all over these things, she started to experience loss, kind of like Job. She was in a Job season of her life and I watched her with my own physical eyes work her process through grief, through devastation, and still hold space for those of us who were in proximity to her, and allow us to hold space for her. Second, let me say this. Just last year, right when I came back from Costa Rica, some of you all may have heard it on Essence when, she came within inches of her life recently. My point is, when you've coming within inches of her life, right before then, we lost another sister in the community who was like her spiritual daughter. I watched this woman work her process at a time that the average person could have fallen apart. And Oprah tells the story how she just happened to see her book. Okay? And she just happened to read the book. And so now, mind you, when they showed Iyanla, she had the hat. She was out, high love. She was outside popping in. I'm talking about grief, Veronica, right now. I'm talking about Iyanla, who lost her daughter, then turned around and lost another spiritual daughter, and almost lost her life. And people are saying she just trying to do it for money. Let me give you another context. Iyanla walked away from starting over because you know what I'm saying. Walked away from it because it did not align with the calling on her life. There are people in the world who still have spiritual integrity. So I watched this woman work her process. So mind you, I'm a witness. Reverend Kelly probably is a witness. Some of the other Sabira probably can testify of being a witness, and that type of thing. And watching her work. I mean, when I say work, I mean herbs, prayer, scrapbooking, dedications to her daughter, whatever it took for her to heal. Woo, help me, Holy Ghost. So, yeah, I feel the spirit of Jamia, because this is my mama. That's her mother. This is her mother. And these are not people that I'm talking about just, you know what I mean? Like willy-nilly as a fan. Okay? So now, let me ask you another question. How many of you have ever been in television and broadcasting and know the backstage production of what it takes to produce anything? What do you know what it means? What has to happen when certain things are said on television? So now let's get into the show. I asked some questions. Some of you could go on, and I'm gonna put the question out here again. Why do you think Iyanla Fix My Life triggers? No, I'm not defending my mother, actually, Monique. I'm not defending my mother. I'm laying context, because when I talked to her, I was a little hot about some of the things that I said. What I was saying was, as I was responding to the post, I just happened to get a text from her. And I didn't think that was just happened to, right? Spirit is always working at all times. Any moment can be the moment for your ancestors to pop in. So she just happened, and I just happened to tell her, because I'm responsible. See, I understand. I've worked for the mayor. I've worked for Minister Farrakhan. I've worked around high-profile families and that type of thing. So you have to know how to be able to close your mouth, even when you know that what people know, what the masses know, is not correct. So, in other words, and because this is my elder, and because this is her anointing, her assignment, I wanted to let her know that I was even speaking on it. So if it ever got back to her, she would know, oh, I already know what my daughter is doing. So I'm not defending her. So because that is exactly what I want to talk about. Defense, assumptions, opinions, reactions. See, social media will have you making those types of things, and then you will be thinking that what you're saying is fact. And this is what distracts many of us out of our spiritual process. One thing that I have always learned from my elder mothers is this. Check this out. When you're in the work, right? Anything that shows up in the work, even if it is an upset, is a part of the work. We think that sometimes it's not supposed to look a certain way, or it's supposed to be all this. You know, it's supposed to be all of that. And then we jump into judgments. But I hope y'all can feel where I'm going with this when I keep asking this question. Even when we look at Monique. Now let's go into the show. I said let's go into the show. I'm just going to deal with the facts as I know them and the ones that you saw. Okay? The show opens, the baby girl comes into the door. She asked her name. She started off putting her into the process. Sometimes we are doing things as spiritual midwives to be intentional in putting you in the process, and you don't have to know it. And you know why a lot of women don't know this type of thing is because we have been stripped of the consciousness of process. We have been stripped of the experience of process. We have spiritual amnesia about having our hands held and being guided by an elder. And so we have all of these assumptions and these opinions and these reactions. And we think that we are just having those things, but do we ever check in to ask ourselves why? So here she comes. She comes through the door. She says, what's your name, baby? What do you want to be called? She doesn't choose the name that the kidnapped mother gave her. She chooses the name that the biological mother gave her, only that she had known for 2 years. Check that out, right? I want y'all to walk with me. She goes in. Okay. She goes in, she sits down. She asks her some questions. The average eye does not know what denial looks like or sounds like. Iyanla's eyes does, and she doesn't always use the eyes that you are using. She stops, she pauses, she gives her an activity, she goes back in with the family to say, here's my assessment, here's my recommendation. I'm going to have to upset her. I'm going to have to either upset her or I'm going to have to break her heart to get to what's underneath the denial, the holding, because I know that it's there. There's something there. I don't know how people miss that part. It was so deliberate. It was so clear. It was such a responsible communication. I'm going to tell them this is what I'm going to do. Here's how I want you to participate. Do you agree? A coach always gets your agreement. Let me back up on coaching. Some of you who are self-anointed coaches and those of you who have gone through online training, we don't understand sometimes that the first rule of coaching is that there is an invitation. In other words, I don't go in and just start coaching on people who didn't ask me to do it. And so you got to understand that her mother, her biological mother, wrote into the show. She did not show up. The baby girl came anyway. So she was already in contract with herself. And let's talk about the legal side. Do you all really think that the production team does not do their due diligence on the legal side to make sure full disclosure is happening at all times before people go to the show, and even more after the whole DMX incident? Okay? So now she has agreement. She has agreement on several levels because the baby girl could have chosen not to come in the door. She comes in the door, and so Iyanla says, I'm going to trigger. And she did exactly what she said she was going to do. Now, did she know that it was going to look like that? Probably not. We never know what it's going to look like. Do y'all know I've been cussed out? I've been called names by my clients. I've had clients run off with my money, don't pay me, and they don't know how you pray for them before they get there. They don't know what you've done and how you've cut, and how when you divide the amounts into the time of preparation. See, y'all think maybe coaching is just inspired, but not when you are trained. You prepare before, during, and after, because it's not you doing the work for real. So now the upset happens. She's not a therapist. That's what they say. So here's fact number, whatever number fact I'm on. There are therapists on site, y'all. There are therapists on site, y'all. Okay. There are producers who start conversations and do all type of research and investigation before they even get there. So, now I ask again. Anybody want to come on live? Just press it. You know, it's amazing. Spirit is giving us a signal. Now let me go higher, because I do want to hear your opinions. Here's what I see. This is what I see. I do not think it's an accident that on the heels of the Me Too movement, the Time's Up movement, where Oprah is the universal auntie, for years they called her the universal mammy. She was the mammy to white America. Let's be real in this conversation. Okay? And so Oprah made such a strong statement. So we have Me Too, women using their voices, coming out of the woodwork. It was spearheaded by a black woman, Me Too. Okay? Time's Up. That was a movement that happened in the entertainment industry. It sparked so much so it sparked a whole social commentary about Oprah being president. Continue on. Now we see black women coming out, embracing their natural hair, wearing queenly garbs again. Now we see the Black Panther. We did the Black Panther breakdown last week. The Black Panther is the energy of Bast. So now we have all of this feminine energy. Now we also have Monique. Black women coming to the forefront in a way. Shonda Rhimes is making deals. I mean, come on. Would you think that this is first of all, it's not new, but we are the ones, we are key. And so what is it that is necessary? What do you think is happening on the planet? I talk about what's happening on the planet because we oftentimes we have opinions, reactions, and many times triggers, and we think that that's just normal. We just throw up on our Facebook page. We throw up, I'm talking about the universal we. This is what we have going on. Why do you think so many people are triggered by the mother? That's where I'm going. Why do you think so many people are triggered by the mother? The mother. Iyanla's name means the great mother. And this world, this patriarchy, through their Mother's Day and Hallmark cards and such, mother is a trigger for more people than a lot of times we would like to tell the truth about. Mother, I'm going to say it again. I've been saying it in many of my lives. I've been saying it for those of us those of you who are working with me. Mother, the mother wound, the unnurtured woman, the unnurtured daughter, the under-nurtured daughter, the over-nurtured daughter. Mother is a trigger for many of us personally. But in the collective, mother is also a trigger for the collective because the mother has been dishonored, and this world is going to have to go through the mother if it wants to see the new world order that is already happening on the planet. The new world order, the paradigm shift is already happening on the planet. First of all, the planet is a womb. And so therefore, the mother has been disregarded, omitted, and hidden. Come on now, let's talk about the unknown women of the Bible. Omitted. The history of women, omitted. The women who have martyred themselves, whose lives have been lost because they stood up and they spoke truth to power. Many of women who were sexual beings and in tantra and geishas, who had to go underground with the sexual technology of who they were because of the freedom and the liberation and the spiritual connection that it represents. Because see, if you can't control a woman's sexuality, you can't control her relationship with God. But when you can control a woman's sexuality, a woman's identity around who she is, then you can control her mind. And many of us are operating on the program of mind control, and we're calling it intellect. Many of us are operating on the program of mind control, and most of the people that have commentary and triggers when it comes to mother have a mother wound. They have an unmothered situation that they have never touched, they've never healed. So the first reaction was, if I was Kamaria, I would have slapped that bitch too. Now, let me talk to those of you mothers who repeat certain things. Those of you who are elders who repeat certain things. You mothers and elders, are you going to be afraid of your children? Woo! What kind of world are we creating? that there are elders who are repeating the line of "she almost got bitch slapped," because that's what makes us not check the little kid in Walmart and Kmart and the ones that are running amok out here in the streets, because we don't believe that we are the mother. Let me calm down. I'm not hollering at you. I promise I ain't hollering at you. But we don't believe that we are the mothers, and not just the mother of my children, baby. I am the mother of civilization. This is why racism and what's happening with the Women's March. Let's talk about the Women's March. And white women who have marginalized the voices of black women, or black women who don't know who they are, who attach to feminism, and feminism was never intended for you, the mother of civilization, because you did not have the issues that the white woman had. You knew how to work with your family. You knew how to rub two dimes together and create a dollar. You knew how to divide food and make it last. You knew how to cook beans. When your husband or your granddaddy or your grandmother still had to go out and make ends meet. We are not the ones who commit suicide when we lose our 401k jobs until our mind gets control, right? Okay, so what I'm saying is, so look at everything. Look at the context of everything before we react to anything. The mother. And I say to every woman in here, if you have not done a deep level, not a macro, because most of the time this social media has us looking at the macrocosm and not the microcosm, and there are many of us who do not know how to go to the microscopic truth, and that is what Iyanla Vanzant represents, the microscopic truth. And all of us that have ever been trained by her represent how you get to the microscopic truth so that you can create a new reality for yourself. For me, it's rebirth and emerge, transform. Why? The scripture says, Nicodemus asked the question, shall I enter into my mother's womb and be born again? Nicodemus, no, baby, you can't crawl back up into your mother's womb, because that's where we get toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is men who are womanizers, men who, because we're going to talk about them in here today too. Men who have not been nurtured by their mother. Men who don't know how to hear nothing but a woman yelling at them, telling them what to do, being bossy, operating in their masculine, and it may even be some of you. So therefore, when you show up in your feminine, a lot of times a man doesn't know how to handle it because he's been wounded by his mother. So even the toxic masculine must heal himself. And he has to come through the mother. I could go into some more science to show you the etymology of mother in every word in spiritual contexts that we use. The truth of the matter is there is only mother and son. This is where we get masonry. Masonry, ma, son, re. The secret is only a secret to the person who has bumped their head. That's what it says in masonry. The one who fell and bumped their head. The stone that the builders rejected. What stone was the stone that the builders rejected? Because when you go into masonry and you go into what is the secret, why is it that the Pope goes to the shrine of the Black Madonna and kisses her feet? Oh, come on, sister. When we pray that prayer, see, I'm like you. I'm not exempt. I didn't grow up knowing this. When you look at me, you can look at the possibility of your rebirth and emerge, transform. See, rebirth and emerge, transform is my testimony. See, when I work with, oh Lord, I wasn't supposed to get so worked up, was I? But listen, rebirth and emerge, transform is my testimony. And there was a time in my life where I had triggers from the woman that the whole world sometimes triggers. But it wasn't her. But Spirit used her. and used her over time. I couldn't see it at first. Because when a woman has a mother wound, or when a woman has lost her mother, she's left to navigate the world of who am I? Who am I in my womanhood? When a woman has been judged by her mother, criticized by her mother, when she fears her mother, when she doesn't have a womb connection with her mother, you look for it everywhere you go. Validate me, see me, make me safe, because it's the mother who makes you stay safe. We are the only creature on earth that can give life and sustain it. Now that's a whole teaching I could do on that, right? And I have done it when I talk about the blessings of chaos. It is the mother. This is the season that we are in on the planet. It is the mother. And so many of us are being forced, and you can either be forced or you could do it by choice. And so daughters must go, and it's not just your physical mother. Religion has omitted the mother. But I'm going to post also, probably in Super Soul, in Rebirth Sunday, and I'll repost it in here, the Aramaic prayer of Jesus. Y'all know that the Our Father that we pray in Aramaic, it sounds so different. And this is why now, see, when I started off and I got all into my zone of my testimony, I was a little old Catholic school girl in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Okay? A good girl who's gone goddess. I was a good girl. I followed. I love God. I had a heart for God. Okay? I had to have a heart for God because I felt forsaken by my parents. Both of them. Not just mama, but also daddy. I was a little girl like many of you. Luckily, I was spiritually bilingual because my father had me Christian as a Catholic, but my mother was a good old Southern Baptist. So Veronica, thank you so much for holding space in here for me, baby. And so I went to Catholic school. I thought I was going to be a nun. That's how much I love God. At that time, my little life, that was my first call to ministry. I didn't know what that was. Trust me, you don't want it. You don't want just the microphone. I ain't never had that. See, I was not a preacher's kid. I wasn't trying to be on no stage. I wasn't looking for none of that. I was a little girl who just wanted to be safe. I wanted to feel safe and secure. I love my daddy. I was a daddy's girl. So my heart got broken when my daddy left. And a lot of other things happened, from molestation, from all types of mistreatment from people in authority, because my mother had to work. And so sometimes she had to leave me in the care of people who really didn't like her. Come on now. I've told this story before. My mother had to leave me in the care of people that didn't like her. A generational pattern in the family, in the bloodline of mistreating people. Now, I don't know if it had to do with skin color. I don't know, but it's a part of my story. I was a little girl who prayed, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God. I prayed that prayer for years. And then I stopped. When I got free, I stopped. I let that go. Then I learned other prayers. Bismillah Rahmani Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Maliki Yomidin. Yeah. I know how to chant. The words won't come to me right now. Namaho Renge Kyo, Namaho Renge Kyo, Namaho Renge Kyo. I can go through the journey of my search and I was a God chaser, baby. I was a God chaser. Until I found I can't say her name, until I met God in myself. And she loved me. And she loved me fiercely. And then now, as I go into the other traditions, and I know who the mother is, I see her everywhere. And now when I pray, Hail Mary, full of grace, I know that I am Mary. Because there were many Marys in the Bible. Even in the Quran, she was called Maryam. Maryam, the woman. When they make the circle, and they take the Hajj, the pilgrimage over in Mecca, they circle the black stone. I didn't know when I was in Islam that the black stone was the woman, represented by the woman. I didn't know when I was in Christianity that the shrine of the Black Madonna was representing Mary and who I was and the truth of who I am. I didn't know that. But if we walk around here with opinions, assumptions, reactions, and don't know that they are triggers, we will start creating realities that recycle the patterns and the pain that the Holy Spirit in us, as us, and through us is inviting us to heal. Many of us have rejected invitations to heal because it gets too uncomfortable, because we have so many opinions, because we are so such a much. As my spiritual father, Pastor Wilson, says, we're so such a much. In our intellectual diatribe about what we think should happen. When I told Iyanla, I said, it just makes me so upset that, you're taking all this heat. There's some other things that I just can't say on camera, straight up. I can't. Let's just say that sometimes decisions are made on your job to do certain things, and you have to do it. Okay? And I might not have been able to hold the space of honoring an elder because it was elders in my family who dishonored me in my childhood. Come on now. That's why we've created a generation of children who don't have a whole lot of tolerance for our BS. We have created a generation of millennials who you can't tell them nothing. You got to almost let them bump their head. But some of us also have birthed light workers and light beings who came here with their assignment. Now, let me say this, and then I'm going to invite y'all to come on. And if we go over 1 hour, we're just going to have to go over 1 hour today. This is so beyond the physical mother. Many of you who are on this journey were what the scripture says, I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. Stop right there. I knew you. What I? The I and I. Do you know what the I and I is? It is the holy I am presence. I am that I am. I am not separate from God. This is why they say we choose our parents. So when we look at a certain point Instead of blaming the mother, we got to look at the mother that we chose. What lesson did she facilitate? We came through her, but she is not us. And there's a certain place on the ascension journey where you have to understand that you came through her, but you are not her. You are the answer of the prayers of that have been prayed by another womb being. Somebody prayed for you to be the interruption. You are the answer. So you did not come here to keep the status quo. And that means this is quintessential Iyanla Vanzant. So quote, end quote already. Let me just say it. Many of you come into this space, many of you who have started growing forth in Goddess, and you try to fit your journey, your personal development work into your life instead of making it your life. I'll say it again. You try to fit the work into your life instead of making it your life. There's a level of devotion that is required on this journey that is your initiation. And some of us have to go through a life initiation because we no longer have trust about the African traditional systems that took us through rites of passage and initiation. And that is what I do for the women who worked with me. And I'll stop there to hear from you, because I'm saying that this is more than the reactions that you see here. And many of the people who have the strongest reaction have the strongest trauma buried inside of them, and they call it their opinions, their reactions, and they make many assumptions. So many assumptions. And I never understood that. I don't understand how you can make assumptions about something. You must believe that TV is real. See, that goes that takes us all the way back to the basics of the mind control. But it's a big risk for Oprah and for Iyanla to do the work that they're doing on television, to bring black men who have been in prison, to cradle them in your arm. Black man is the public enemy. Well, we say that the black man is the public enemy, number one, but it really is the black woman. Because if you can control her mind, then you can control everything that she births. So anyone want to come on? Anybody got a little fired up in my sharing and received your download? This doesn't have to be one way. Anybody would like to be invited in to join the conversation? Did it wake up something? Did it shift something? Do you have another view? The other view is welcome. I hope I did okay in getting to the spiritual points that I see, because I have to be able to shift when I'm seeing what I'm seeing to tap into another eye. Is there anyone else who would like to come on and share? Yeah, thank you, Cecile. You're so right. Phew. Let me drink some water. Lord, have mercy. You're under the dryer, so you can't hear, but I would say come as you are, but if you're under the dryer, you can't hear. I did not read all of the comments, but Tanya, would you like to come on? Are you in a position to come on, Tanya Brown? Whew. Yes, indeed. I got my soul wealth candle burning on the altar for my people, because I asked for their assistance before I even opened this up, because I really don't speak publicly about this. Let me say something too about a lot of people ask me, why don't you do Facebook Lives on the big page? I am very clear, and it was confirmed for me this weekend, and something that I was talking to my elders about. I am devoted to women's work, and women's business is not for everybody, for mixed company. So all these women that's getting online talking about the goddess and the divine feminine, yeah, that's cool. That's fine. That's not liberation to me. I gotta find my Nina said, come on in, Veronica. I so want to hear you. I love you too, Veronica. Thank you, Tanya. Would you like to join, Tanya, Tommy, any of you? Even if you're somebody new that's watching. And I understand that sometimes I use terms that are new, but I'm very deliberate in that as well. And that's why I don't work with everybody. The average woman coming off the street has to be able to really be in a place of doing some personal development before she can even come into the rites of passage process. I'm very clear about that. Ayana, would you like to come on? I'm looking for my charger. If y'all see me looking around, because I'm getting the battery is low signal. And if I've given you, okay, well, come on. If you can press that little button down there, I'm going to see if I can just add you. Yep. Oh, Tanya, I think you got to do something on your end because it doesn't have an add button by you, Dana. It's a few of you who the add button is not there. I don't know if that's because of how you're coming in, if you're not on a mobile. Yes, indeed. I definitely feel the presence of my spiritual committee, and I give thanks. So I'm waiting for you to find that button, Tanya. And if while you're looking for the button and good. Let me see who else. Who says I'm at work? You just happened to catch the show and your mouth was open. Yes. But even the Quran said that there will be a time when the mother will I'm trying to remember the exact quote. It says there will be a time and a season where the mother will lose her suckling. In other words, the things that she has birthed will turn on her and betray her. And so we're witnessing the divine atonement. Keela, our technology guru, our technology and science guru says you have to use a device. So if you're watching on your laptop, you may not be able to join. That might be why I don't see a button for you, Tanya. Anybody else want to jump in? I really do want to. I was hoping that Anika could join in, and I want to give credit to my tribe because Anika inspired. I was thinking about my sister. And the reason why, because when Tamika Mallory, when she came on her live after she had the experience with American Airlines and the foul comments of our own people, much like they've done with Monique, Anika was also, she came and she did a live for the community to talk about vulnerability and why we get so uncomfortable with vulnerability. And what I was going to say earlier is the same happens in a workshop room. A lot of times when you feel someone going through an experience, you want to jump up and rescue them instead of letting them. There are people who have not cried for 30 years. And basically, when Iyanla told her, I've been that girl. I've been that one who found out that the woman that I call mother was not my mother. That is devastating. It makes you question everything. So, of course, this is an extraordinary situation and not usual. But I think that if we're complete, Nina is coaching you, Tanya. Okay, I'm gonna let Keela and Nina coach you on how to join live because I know Tanya has something to say. I've worked with Tanya. I know that she witnessed the dialogue that happened between me and my sister today. Yesterday, so she can see. And even she perceived it as an intense conversation. And I really wasn't being intense about it because, just to be challenged doesn't mean that people are arguing or in breakdown. That's another thing we got to grow up around. You know, do y'all want to create people, a bunch of yes men around you? Like, to be in contrast, life is contrast. There's going to be contrast. Tanya said, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I can hear you saying it. I can hear you saying, I don't know what to do. So do I have your permission to go grab my charger, please, while y'all figure out how to get on this live? Because I'll see the little button to add you in here. Okay. Anything that you heard, I'm going to try to go through the comments. And this is why many of us, we leave this kind of work. She told us that she told something so profound, but I know that the brother did not know what she was saying. She said, when you go in for surgery, you can't go with her. How many of you ever had a surgery and your loved ones have to stay out in the waiting room if they showed up for you at all? I've had a surgery. I've had a surgery. Keela said, go get your charger. Okay, let me go get my charger. Okay, I got my charger. Okay, so when she said to the father, you can't go into surgery with her. And I've often said that a lot of times we haven't had soul surgery. It requires something a skill set is very different in this world. If you watched her on another, I posted it on my Instagram account, where this is also why we see competition in sisterhood and amongst women too, because of the mother factor. And we've been trained by the patriarchy to compete. So it takes a lot of intentional work to hear and see things from a different point of view, and because many people do not believe that they create their own reality. We think that things are just happening to us, and so therefore we're reacting to life, and we think that life is just happening instead of us happening to our life. And that is that's a different kind of woman. Yeah, I get it. Tanya can't join. I get it. It doesn't just have to be Tanya. Okay, so I know that it may go over the 1 hour, and that's what I said. Anyone else want to join? Cecile, you want to join in? You work with mamas, huh? Veronica does the work of women telling their story through the Wild Womanhood, and I am one of her ambassadors in that journey and that community and that tribe. And it is the wonder of women who are telling their story. So many of us who are in this space, Tanya Freeman Brown is a woman who has a testimony of living through cancer. And when she worked with me, you gotta believe that I was working with her to save her life. And I'm not saying anything that's not public, right? Let me see who else is in the room. If I'm not calling out the thing, I don't know, Zoha. Where are you, Zoha? Let me see if you in the room, Zoha. Zoha, we were talking about you the other day. I love that girl. I love Zoha. Let me tell you something, Veronica Very. If you have not met Zoha, I want you to meet Zoha. That young lady is... Ooh, I think I did something. Wait a minute, y'all. Okay, here we go. Zoha, are you watching? Maybe I will do a part 2 later on. Maybe if I can come in later with Zoha on watching. Zoha is a writer, a poet. She's another one who shares her story very publicly with her mother. And her life is a miracle. A woman who has had doctors speak over her womb about what she would not be able to do in terms of having children. She's had 3. She has had life-threatening illnesses for all intents and purposes that should not have allowed her to be here. Zoha can tell you the power of this mother thing and the power of, and I love Zoha because she's a woman who I know did the work with the kind of work that I'm talking about and didn't stop. And she continues. All right, now Tommy is coming in the room. If anybody is connected, I know you might be able to send a message to Zoha. Tommy is coming on right now. I'm adding Tommy. At least the system says that it's adding Tommy. There you are, love. I see you.
Yeah. This is so powerful. I came in just about 10 minutes ago, maybe 5 minutes ago, and I'm blown away. Listen. Woo, that thing was deep on so many levels. Dana and I watched it together. And Dana kept reiterating to me that this girl is alone. She's totally alone. 19 years old. And the sad part about it is that the woman who called Ayana didn't show up. Her mother didn't show up. And so my question is, my question is, what would be this 19-year-old young woman, what in the world would be her next step?
What would her what?
What would be her next step?
Oh, well.
Oh my God.
Well, life is going to happen because that anger is inside of her. That rage is inside of her. And the truth of the matter is we're assuming that her boyfriend has not even seen it because there was a part in the actual where she got in the boyfriend's face. And I'm going to say something here. I'm glad you brought that up. And she got in his face like this. You know, like, and you not going to answer your phone? Like, and see, these are the little girls that we're creating. See, we're creating, there are little girls out there in the street because when the womb is angry, you birth little angry girls who think that they can get into the face of men like that. And I've seen it. I've worked in the schools. I have been out on assignment, troubleshooting in the school. I've sat in cases where girls have stabbed boys with pencils, and I've seen the little boy gangster say, but Miss So-and-so, if I had hit her, y'all would have said that I was wrong. But she was the aggressor. Remember, I talked about that as well a few broadcasts ago, where I said many of us are not owning how abusive we are to our men behind closed doors. Yeah. How we get in the face of men and call them bitches and pussies.
Yeah.
So for her it's probably going to be an explosion. She said to her, she said, I wanted to bring this up because y'all haven't seen it, because they're so afraid of losing her again. And so sometimes we have family members around us who will enable us because they don't want to lose us. They don't want to. And if we're tyrants, and some of you, let's tell the truth. Some of women in spaces like this have birthed children that are running your household. All they have to do is have a tantrum, throw a hissy fit, and you running. And that's what I said. Look, what are we doing? What are we doing? And so that we birthing children now, and not only that, even if you don't ever birth any children, I don't ever walk into a space and don't see my children, because I know who I am, because I've seen who I was. See, my chart says that I'd done motherhood, and I mastered it in another life. So even the mother who has not had children, I don't think that you don't, just stop saying you don't have children. Every white woman is your child. Every white man is your child. Every civilization, every culture is your child. If you know who you are. You are mother. It is time for us to rise like them and walk into the room as though we are mother. But the little girl, though, to your point, she has to do her work out in the field. That's it. And it's dangerous. And I also wanted to add this before we close. They're still, now they're starting to do radio interviews and saying that other things happened. They were asked to leave that set. They didn't just walk off. Because for some people, fighting and conflict is normal. That baby's normal. They were asked to leave because they became a danger to the set. And they've even attached Iyanla's son's name on some of the videos and stuff, and he said things. It's not true. Don't believe it. But one thing he will never be apologetic for. If he's around and you disrespect his mother, he's gonna let you know you're out of line. Get your daughter. And he did that. Now, they went hood. You know, everybody, just because we see them, I always say this, just because I am not walking around here acting like a bitch don't mean that I can't be. Like, we got this pride of being a boss bitch, and bitch this, and bitch, like, I don't even play like that anymore. So anyway, I don't know if that answers your question, but did you have anything else to share?
Yeah, she's gonna have to really do her work, and my heart just broke. You know, it just broke. And the woman who contacted Iyanla didn't even show up. And the thing about it is that you're absolutely right. I think all the time about what a big risk these two women are taking on that show, because I know I have seen the ramifications. And that just goes to show you how spirit is working. Oh my God.
Through the womb of the woman.
For them to step out like that? Yeah.
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 And you know, in the case of shows like this, there are certain, you know, like, nah, I won't say that. I won't say it, because I don't know if I'm gonna make this video public yet. So you know, there's certain things that I just can't say. Just all things are not as they appear. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So thank you. I think Cecile said that she wanted to come on as well. Thank you so much for your compliments. And you are a testimony, of course, of a woman who does her work, who's devoted her life. You don't fit this into your life. This is your life, and you have the results that are showing up all around you. We ain't even got to that juicy butterfly.
Yes, yes.
All right.
All right.
All right. Love you, sweetheart.
So just press the button.
Press the button. I don't know. I don't have a button to press on my end. I think you do. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Cecile says okay, here we go, Cecile. I'm about to add you. I think when Tommy hangs up, I'll add you. Okay, go. All right, Cecile, bringing you on. Thank you for joining, adding your voice. I always say this, those of you who come into this space, just your comments and your sharing is blessing a woman who hasn't found her voice yet, who is unconscious. And a lot of times our dialogue is helping to make this a woman who's watching conscious, who's sitting on the sidelines. So I honor each and every one of you. I just met 4 women at an event that they watched. All right, go ahead. Hey, Cecile, I see you now. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
Good. Come on and bring it. I know you have some observations from mother and the mother wound and all that.
Yes, yes, definitely. I first of all, I didn't see this episode. However, just 2 months ago, we at my book club we read Ayanla's, and this is just to go to how resistant people can be to just going through, in my observation. So we read Ayanla's book yesterday. I cried, and most of the people who was in the room were making observations about how they disliked the show and yada yada. And so I was like, well, first of all, whoever's on there said everything that you said. Whoever's on there, they agreed to be there. They know what's up. It's not like this is like, some flim flam, you just came on and you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So, but it was like everyone was questioning, like saying like who is she to be an authority on these kinds of things type thing. And I'm like, well, first of all, she has different things under her belt, but obviously you read in the book the things that she's been through herself. She's being honest about what she's been through. Who else can usher someone or assist someone in going through things but someone who has been through similar things and has the observation and the spiritual insight? So I think there's a lot of resistance right now anyway. And I've also observed that a lot of people, the social work context of healing.
Oh, yeah. So talk about that, please. Thank you for bringing that up.
These different, so it's all these different modalities and ways of that they teach you in social work school and, to be a therapist and all of these other things. And it's like, you go to people, and I've been to therapists and, they weren't able to connect with what I was going through. It wasn't until I met someone who had gone through what I had gone through that really understood the mother wound and these things. Because I had gone through all these healing processes and it was still that mother wound that was at the core of everything. And it wasn't until I approached that I was really able to see what was going on.
It shapes everything.
Everything. We don't even realize how deeply it affects us. And so that's what I have to say about that. If a woman is really seeking to understand and heal herself from anything, you really have to go back to how you were raised and your relationship with your mother. Like there's really, if you don't go back to that, then you're probably missing a huge point.
And you can testify even in our work in She Magic. The whole point of me even doing that work is also to show most women who are struggling financially. Usually she has a challenge at the core level, womb level. I didn't know it either until I started diving into this money conversation and asking the Holy Spirit, why am I praying about the same thing? Why do I don't feel secure? Because it's about being secure. And so you make so many decisions to be secure sometimes. And you worry about your security all the time because not being secure. So all the insecure women, I don't care what your title is. I don't care what you've accomplished in your life. When at the core of you is insecurity, that is a breadcrumb for you to trace the trail back to the womb. Oh, my Zoha just came in the room. Somebody went and got Zoha for me. Not saying that you being here is not important, but I thank you, whoever went in and got Zoha for me. Zoha,
yes,
click the add button. As soon as I finish with Cecile, I want you to come on board. And you don't have to, if you only got a few minutes, it's fine. If you got the baby, it's fine. Whatever the case may be. But an insecure woman, That is a nugget. That's a breadcrumb for you to be able to trace what made me insecure. And if it's still about them, you ain't there yet. And that's okay. It's okay because it's a journey. And some of us also want microwave results when it comes to healing, and it's layers. And I've gotten impatient with myself. I've fought myself. I ran from things. And that's probably why I attract some of the clients like some of you who are resistant and who run. But I'm time enough for you, baby. Continue, Cecile.
But yeah, that's the center of it all. And of course I talk about, because for me, when I started my journey too, I started to see and understand the effects that not healing myself and not confronting those issues with my mother was having on my daughter. And that's the other level of it, because if you still have that, you are going to subconsciously pass on all of that to your child or children.
Ashe.
And so that's all I have to say. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. And we're continuing the work.
Yes.
I can't, no, I'll let her tell you later. Never mind. All right.
All
Love
right,
you, honey.
so
There's
thank
nothing
you.
you can do about it.
All right, so
Okay.
thank you.
Zoha, can you click to add yourself into the room? Veronica, if you're back in the room, I just had an aha moment. I'm going to call you. I want you to meet Zoha. I almost want to do a video chat, but if she comes on, you will meet her. So as soon as my sweet sister Cecile hangs up, if we can get Zoha on the line.
Oh, I don't know how do I do that? I don't see
I
how
don't
to.
know. I think you have to tap it. Oh, let me see. Yes, thank you so much for sharing. She's so right. Everything she just said, and like I said, and even more. She said if you aren't careful, you'll see it in your daughter. Okay? I did. I just hung it up. So let me see if I can find Zoha. But first of all, Zoha, she came in the room, but I don't know if she's watching, if she's still here, because I don't see the. Wait a minute. I'm lying. There we go. I'm clicking to add her. So what about our sons? I did talk about the sons, Keela. I said that many of us also many men are also working with their toxic masculinity. One of the things that we have also been taught, that if we're the mama then or the daddy, then we're the authority. So a lot of times we don't atone with our children. So sometimes when you are on this journey, in this process, and you're the daughter or you the mother and you have children, sometimes you may need to go back to them to say, I didn't know what I didn't know. And here is where I am now. Here's what I've learned. Let them see your humanity. Tell the truth of who you really are instead of only parenting from the place of your representative. Because the truth is that this generation can sense, smell, and just sniff out the level of cowardice that some of us are walking in. Dana says, one thing that came to me, the mom that raised the child was hardcore to take that child. So I would guess that this child is as hardcore because of the woman that she was raised by and passed it along to the child. Well, here's what Iyanla said about that. She said that this young lady probably has been having outbursts like this. And because the mother did not want to be found out, that whenever she would have these outbursts, she probably would give her whatever she wanted. So that's what I meant when I said some of them are running your household. This young lady hasn't had an outburst like this. She said out of her mouth, I've beat other bitches for lesser things than this. Did y'all hear when she said that? I beat other bitches for lesser things than this. I see somebody trying to come on. I see a button up there, but it's not showing me an alert. Okay. Anyway, I don't know what that is, but I do see an alert for someone who is trying to join, but it doesn't say the name. Thank you for that comment, Dana. So, okay, I guess we won't get Zoha today. Wait a minute. Zoha, Dana says, I'm sure that this alone has caused a lot of her confusion and rage because she only knows what she's shown, a product of her environment. Now she has to deal with her DNA, maybe something different. And remember now, the mother, the biological mother, and Kamira are not speaking. No, nobody on the threads asked the question, why were those two not speaking? She probably has seen this rage and experienced the disrespect, because you could see when whenever it was mentioned that the Gloria was the kidnapper, she would say, don't call her that. I've even watched some old interviews, and she said, I want to talk about that. And that's the denial that Iyanla was challenging. She was challenging her denial. When people challenge your denial, you can become belligerent. The first thing you do is defend. When people challenge your denial, you look at them and they become the bitch, the villain. But I assure you, when you have training and when you are set aside for something greater than this, and especially if you do alchemical work, before you get in the room, you already know what you're working with. And so when you come into the room, you already are prepared, and you're not standing alone. That's what I want the ones of you who are on the journey to get. We are not standing alone. And she already said this. And so some of you probably have defended it or an attack. There was a period, y'all, I couldn't hear from Iyanla. Even though I was trained by her, there were times when she would call me on my stuff, and I would be like, she always got something to say to me. Why is she up? She must not like me, because I didn't think my mother liked me. I don't want to get into a workshop today, but y'all feel me? Some of y'all got testimonies just like this. So we're doing the work. We're doing it in She Magic Money. We're doing it in the Juicy You. This is the kind of thing that gets us to sensuality. Sensuality and sexuality is deeper than just being able to be sexy and have sex and have orgasms, because you can have orgasms and children and be disconnected from your womb. You can have as men running in and up out of you and be disconnected from your influence and your affluence and what your spiritual assignment is here on earth. Some of you came in with anointings on your head by certain energies that are represented by the goddesses. Some of you, I see the anointing on some of you. Some of you have an unnatural Oshun anointing that has been criminalized and made to feel guilty. Some of you have a Yemaya anointing, and I'm using these, but I could say Aphrodite. I could say Mother Mary. I could say Oya. Some of you are the change agents. You weren't built to be meek and humble. You were the one to come into the room to do the work like you saw in Wakanda. You are the warrior woman, like Wonder Woman. You came from a tribe of women who have an assignment and an anointing. And until you start this journey, it'll be all around you and you won't see it, because we're looking with our physical eyes and not with our pineal gland being open. The pineal gland is directly connected to the third eye. When the pineal, this is where your melanin is. And this is why they want you to have be mind control. But anyway, I'll get out of that. All right, y'all. I'm going to get up out of this thing, as the old preachers say. I love you all. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for just being yourselves. Thank you for being community. Thank you for being real sisters, sacred sisterhood. Thank you for us going in deeper. Just thank you for being all that you are on this journey. You matter. Your voice matters. Your contribution matters. The work you're continuing to do on yourself is the rebirth and emerge transformed work. No matter where you are on the journey, if you're watching, that's where you are on the journey. If you're just a watcher, that's that's where you are on the journey. And I hope that in sisterhood, when they say faith comes by hearing, when you hear these sisters who are now able to articulate their experience, and they're able to look at it, because you can't always see it while you're in it. You can't see it while you're in it. Sometimes you're fighting like this. Or sometimes you like this. I don't want to hear it. You know, I don't like her. She too much for me. Child, please. That most of the things that we feel about other people don't have nothing to do with them. So if you are in a process, we're going to continue to do it in the sacred container of process. If you're already in the process with me, whether it is the She Magic Money, whether it is the Juicy You and the upcoming Rites of Passage process, or whether you are a private client. So, and if you are just right here in community, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it, because it don't have nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with who I am and what I have been called to do. And hey, you and so are you. I love you. I do. Thank you for sharing with me today. And here comes Anika Wilson Brown. Didn't I call her name to join me in the middle of this thing? I don't even know what time it is, so I'm gonna go on and close out. I was just about to hang up, but I really wanted to bring you on, Anika, to share in this and to give your professional assessment. But I talked about you and how you inspired me. So, but we're at the end, and I said that I would be mindful of the time, because I know anybody that has to go will just have to go. And but this was a special session for us today, and maybe we will do a part 2. I don't know. This was led. Anything else I do will be led. So again, I do love you, and there's nothing you do about it. I think I need to go refresh myself. I still got to teach the Juicy You tonight, and I look forward to that on the other side. Ciao and good night. Good day, everyone.